right? Good morning. Welcome, 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 welcome. The first thing you do when you go to somebody's house is to greet the person. You understand? And saying hello in the comment section is one way of greeting them. It doesn't have to be in the same order, but hitting the like button is also another way. Sharing the live is also another way to say to that person, hello, you know, and it's a way to signal to them that you appreciate the content. If you are somebody that has always watched the content, you know what I mean? So yeah, um, I want to encourage you guys to please hit the like button. It's free. It don't cost you $1. It don't cost you more than a second. As a matter of fact, probably a millisecond. If you really think about it. Anywho, here we go. I have to share this. Thank God for my WhatsApp group them, because I don't know what the amount of attack will come on my channel right now. I guess it's because me I talk about God and me I talk about, you know, the wicked evil government and who they have aligned themselves with in terms of the evil order. So I guess that's why, but hey, rather stand for truth and justice, than sell out. So we're gonna continue to fight the good fight. See that we are stand for integrity or we're not. Integrity means something to me, No about nobody else. Good governance means something to me. Honesty means something to me. Good character means something to me. In a world where those things are so scarce, they mean even more. And I value them even more. And individuals that I choose to, have close to me, they have to exemplify those things. They don't have to be perfect. Don't get me wrong, nobody is perfect. And as I grew older, I had to understand one thing at a time. We're live on all platforms. We're live on Bolo VNR 2.0. Thanks to everybody that saw the live stream schedule and they hit the like button. I want to thank you guys. Oh my days, my computer's about to die. Didn't realize I didn't plug it in. There we go. There you go, sweetie. Got some juice now. You got some juice. Wonder why my frames them a drop. Why my buy rates them a drop. And I give you trouble. The computer now no juice. Computer out for dead for me. We good here now still. Check the Wi-Fi. Cause when I use OBS, the Wi-Fi have to on point, On point dog, name is supper. Trust me. Show available networks. Uh-huh. Disconnect, reconnect back now. Thank you. Alright, we're supposed to be good. We don't want too much. I don't want too much thing on the network. So ladies and gentlemen, and again, morning. Probably said that 1,000 times. Woo! Got something for you today, boy. We have a good show for you today. Put on me. Me dark shirt. My shirt are kind of small still, But me have to do this with TikTok. TikTok, what's up? TikTok make me have to wear dark shirt already hot. No, sir. People they say they can't see comments them, brother. I'm go for my big boom box. Let me go for my big boom box. Yes, yes. Big boom box ready. echoes. You know, somebody recording them. I don't know how to switch or revert the background noise when we use it in this format. I'm not that astute when it comes on to the audio. There shouldn't be a poor connection on OBS anymore. Also, there should not be a poor connection on OBS. Should have a perfect connection. God, should have an excellent connection on OBS. What is going on? Anyway, let me fix up my phone then, so people them can see me. See me, you know. Hey, how you doing, Bolo VNR 2.0? What's up? I was trying to get the camera on for Bolo TBV, but unfortunately, that did not materialize or manifest. So we have to work with what we can work with, innit? Alright, let me get this right here, son. Realities. The people in can't even tell me good doing. Good morning. Alright? How you doing? You good? No, man. I don't like how you treat me. I don't lie. Me feel away. Twitter. Me feel away. You see me? To all this thing you at the right on the front. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, it's your brother Bolo VNR. We here with another one. Listen to me. The Integrity Commission drop a media release this morning. No lies told. Lily Nelson, big up yourself, good man. Big up everybody on TikTok, big up everybody on Bolo VNR clips. Big up everybody on Bolo VNR 2.0. We got John Thompson in the building. We got Marcia. You understand? Big up the people on Bolo TBV. Now, for those who don't know, the Integrity Commission is a commission or mandate that is held through legislation to hold the government of the day accountable and their officials, especially the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition. Because if the head of the stream is corrupt, the entire river will be also. Yes? And this is for those who are not aware enough. So, what the Integrity Commission does is it actually investigates public officials where their statutory declarations are concerned. So how did you make your money? Did you make it illegally or did you make it honest? Which is very important. We don't want thieves, crooks, and criminals to be, controlling or managing our tax dollars. That would be giving puss butter to carry, as our granny would say. So anyway, as you can see, well, for the people on Bolo TBV, as you can see on the screen, it says for immediate release. The Integrity Commission submits 4 investigative reports and 3 indicative ruling to Parliament for tabling. Hello? 4 investigative reports and 3 indicative ruling to Parliament. September 26, 2025, which is today. September 26. What's up, last song, Godson? Big up. See them here. Big up yourself. September 26, 2025. In keeping with its previously made commitment, the Integrity Commission wishes to notify the public that it has yesterday submitted to Parliament 4 reports of investigation, 3 of which were accompanied by associated indicative ruling. I guess they already ruled on if what is certified, and if it's not certified, what would be the recourse and the recommendation. So I guess that's what that means. But we'll hear in time. Hopefully a short time, not a long time. You guys know what I mean. Reports have been withheld. Anyway, the documents were formally received and signed at the Parliament at 11:26 a.m. yesterday. Hard copies of the referenced investigation report were submitted in separate envelopes under cover of identical letters addressed to the following officials. 1. The Most Honorable Judith Bones MP, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Senator Tom Tavares Finson, and Miss Colleen Lowe, Clerk of the House of Parliament. The indicative ruling were also similarly addressed and submitted in separate envelopes. A USB flash drive with PDF electronic copies of all documents submitted was also conveyed. So them give them in an all form. Them can't say them never get it, right? So they can read it. Okay? This is about IC dropping 4 reports and 3 indicative rulings. It's a media release. The Integrity Commission anticipates that the investigative reports, which were submitted pursuant to and in conformance with Section 54 of the Integrity Commission Act, together with the associate indicate ruling, will be tabled in both houses of Parliament as soon as possible. Section 54 of the Integrity Commission provides that where the reports from the Director of Investigation to the Commission has a recommendation under subsection 3, the Commission shall submit it to Parliament for tabling. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but I am eagerly anticipating the exposure of anybody else in government, whether it be PNP or JLP, that is not in alignment with our conformance with, their statutory declarations being certified. We need to know all the skullduggery artists so they can be removed. I believe that we should have the same energy that we have in terms of the fight against gangs. We need to have that same energy for the fight against corruption. And we also need legislation to be boosted up to make sure that those laws will deter politicians from even thinking about wanting to steal from our pool of tax dollars. My apologies, right? So you guys can anticipate that particular report, those 4 reports coming out. and the 3 indicative rulings in Parliament when the Prime Minister's wife, the Speaker of the House, tables them. And it should be as soon as possible. There should be absolutely no delay. There shouldn't be any excuses for these reports not to be tabled immediately. Yes, we don't want a rerun of the last performance of Juliet Lewis. We're not, listen, we don't like the fact that she's Speaker of the House, but Andrew Jones is playing this game, innit? Yes, him and his wife are trying to run the country, and the power structure is just tainted. But anyway, God on time. Anyway, I want to traverse over to my lovely content creator on TikTok, London45_. Let's hear what she has to say about one of the most talked about topic right now, the unaliving of a 22-year-old young man in Cherry Tree Lane in his house by them went there with an alleged search warrant that all types of argument thrown it. It just let's listen.
Mr. Allness, sir, why is everyone acting like business going on as usual? After these policemen going to look at Mr. Allness, sir, why is everyone acting like business going on as usual? After these policemen going to look a young man place with fake warrant, go take him 3 pints, and he's just 22 years old, and everybody acting like everything okay. Let me tell you something, it's not okay for me and a lot more Jamaicans, because guess what? For way too long, this shit is going on where you guys walking in, unaliving people's child, and then appoint them to a damn weapon. Okay, this young man get up, go open the door because them claim them have a warrant out there with no warrant, and unalive the youth, and then they went back inside the youth home, terrorizing other rooms. And when they realized that no one else was there, what they tried to do, they plug out internet, turn around the camera, try to do all kind of things to cover up the tracks. But God is not sleeping. God is not sleeping. And whenever you guys are planning evil, God are always there wiping out. But Mr. Onus, you see, you and your security minister that talk about them going to meet them match and the maker, and how them going a body bag or van back, you all never tell us that you was going to go to them homes, go present fake warrant and unalive the youth. And I also saw another video where the police them take the young man out of him house, bring him to the back of his yard, and tell him to kneel down, and all he could hear is pie unaliving the youth. Let me tell you something, Jamaica, darker days are ahead. Darker days are ahead. Oh, we can have a security minister that's supposed to sit with us, the police, and wear them body cam, and he's going to come out and say that they don't want to wear their body cam. So is the police them run things? These young set of police that they recruit don't have no manners, no form of communication, and no patient, and they're just out there to unalive the young men. Jamaica, y'all don't see that they're unaliving the men. They're unaliving the men. Jamaica already shot a man, and what they're doing, they're unaliving them. No, man, no, this cannot be right. So, sir, when you say that the police them rather to use your productive skills, right? This is what you meant. They go into people's home and go unalive people for no reason. Huh? This don't sit right with me at all. This don't sit right with me. I don't understand why we're so quiet. Why we're so quiet about this situation. It's going to be a 9-day talk, and then it's going to disappear till one more young man lost his life the same way. Look at all these criminals in Parliament that rob the Jamaican people millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. And we can't even hold y'all properly to get justice here. Right here now, they say 15% of real reads witness is missing. This law in Jamaica is not for the rich. It's for the poor. You understand? And it's 2 laws that are here. When you're poor, they can walk in your place and unalive you, appoint a weapon to you, and come with a story. So the police productive skill is to go out and analyze people's children and then try to cover it up. And then have the government backing them. Huh? This is the kind of Jamaica that we want for our children. This is the kind of Jamaica that we want for a future generation. Huh? No, man. This cannot be right. This hurting me from deep. This hurting. Or you think the family... Or you think the family of this young man, what are they going through at this very moment? Huh? Mr. Oldness, your sons don't live anywhere where the police can just go knock on them door with a fake warrant. You have to have feelings for people's children. We're poor people out here. And these policemen that you're sending out there are destroying families. No, man. I never see something hurt me so bad. These police officers plug out internet, shifting up cameras, and I don't hear any breaking news that their asses are in jail. We don't hear any breaking news that they're in jail. No, man. But Mr. Oldness, I'll never forget your word. You said they will meet the judge and the maker. And your security minister said in the van back or in a body bag. You come back again and say the police rather to use their productive skills. And you're showing the Jamaican people day in and day out that this country is not for the poor. It's like you want to get rid of the poor people to bring in your rich friends, them and investors in this country. We're going short a man triple time now. This is why 15 women is to all one man. Because we're not taking away the men from the females who are not in jail or unalive them. Jesus Christ, no, man. Jamaica, this is bad. This is bad. This is bad. What kind of Jamaica this become? Huh? Every minute you hear that they're probing another police killing. And the criminals are right in our face running the country. And we're not hearing that none of them unalive. We're not hearing that they're in jail. All we hearing evidence missing, and they keep on pulling out case for years to get away with it. But let me tell you all something. No matter what is happening, remember a day is gonna become when the Jamaican people is going to see a difference, because this shit is getting out of hand. This is getting out of hand. I don't rate this that is happening in my country. This is getting out of hand. But young men, all I can tell you all, try your best to get a camera and put it hidden somewhere in your yard, where if the police shows up, the camera can even capture what is going to happen to you all. At least we can hold somebody accountable. Because I'm sure if that young man didn't have camera at his house, the police, them would come out, come say, oh, him bust up much shot. He run out busting up shot after them. Jesus of mercy. And when they realize that they done something wrong, they point this young man to a weapon and then up and down through the people them house, damage the people them house. What kind of Jamaica this? And we just quiet like this? Oh. Mr. Oldness, man didn't have camera at his house. The police, them would come out, come say, oh, him bust up much shot. He run out busting up shot after them. Jesus of mercy. And when they realize that they done something wrong, they point this young man to a weapon and then up and down through the people them house, damage the people them house. What kind of Jamaica this? And we just quiet like this? Oh my God, prayers.
Yep, that's the cry, man. Excuse me. That is the cry. Prayers, ladies and gentlemen. We are in for it in this country. And the only entity we can turn to is God. I know some people don't agree, but we're gonna disagree. All right, we are going to disagree. How you doing, Stephen? Yeah, it is terrible. Rustin, how you doing? Um, no, you know, if it's not one thing, it's the next. Elections are over, and all I've been hearing from the Jamaica Labour Party supporters, politics done now. Unu can't move on. Unu can't move on. Unu bitter, sir. Unu bitter. Unu bitter. Unu bitter. Unu bitter. But we are seeing the kettle calling the pot black. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to listen to the wonderful, the beautiful, the intelligent, the queen of the south. Let her explain to you some of the challenges. Simple Pebbles Wagwan. She's gonna explain to you some of the challenges that she's having with the MP that has lost to her. It appears he has not. Reality hasn't settled in as yet. It appears he thinks that he's the one that's actually in Parliament. He's the one that actually got sworn in. Wanna hear this guy? You can't make this up. You can't make this up.
Dear constituents of South St. James, can you believe it? It's been a week since I've been sworn in as our Member of Parliament, officially given the authority to act on our behalf. But since then, I've been hard at work. I've been writing letters, making calls, and meeting with the agencies and the departments and ministries that are there to serve us. My goal is simple. I want to come from a place of facts. I want to know what has been spent, what has been committed, and what remains available so we can plan our projects properly and deliver on the mandate you gave me on September 3. But today, I must pause that work to address an urgent matter. Honestly, I'm surprised that I even have to address something like this. You see, the defeated former MP has been presenting himself as though he still holds authority, even in his own words and on his social media platforms. I have been courteous because I know it can be hard to accept defeat. But since I must explain it in plain language, he is not the MP for South St. James. He recently published a video attaching himself to a government project, even boasting that he intends to do the same with 6 more projects. Let me be clear. He has no mandate, no jurisdiction, and no office to direct contractors or communities on government-based projects. And this is not the first time. At a project in Richmond Hill in the Catadupa division, he was still giving instructions until I personally visited with the councillor and set things right. This pattern must stop. On the Constituency Development Fund, I have learned that the former MP has already overcommitted the $20 million allocation for this fiscal year. The majority has already been disbursed, leaving little for our urgent needs. We will, of course, be auditing these commitments to ensure value for money, but for now, let the line be clear. He is not the lawful representative, and he must disassociate himself from all projects in South St. James. Even the Prime Minister, in his remarks last week, sent mixed signals that embolden this kind of behavior. But the reality is simple. The people of South St. James made their choice. That choice was me. And history gives us perspective. In 2016, just 2 weeks after taking office, the JLP renamed a highway built by the PNP after Edward Siaga. They wasted no time in taking ownership because winners take responsibility and losers accept the outcome. You may not.
Nah, I'm sorry, man. Nah, Queen of the South is cooking right now. Simone, Queen of the South is cooking. Janet Wagwan, she is cooking the Jamaica Labour Party. Somebody said, I'm a showman and I'm sick of hearing the illness in our society. Thinking one of us need to pool money or something. Man, listen. Listen, I first labor at me and say that. But listen, man. The Queen of the South is destroying them. Because, again, East Portland, them win the election, and East Portland is a sour. It's like East Portland was the election. You hear them go on the internet over East Portland and still are going, some of them? Some of them still has continued that. I know this with Queen of the South. You guys remember when Queen of the South had her, well, she was supposed to have this event for the taximen, the same taximen when they come out, come protest. Yes. All of the taximen in her here, how you doing, Ardeen? All the taximen in her area, she was supposed to do an event for them. And Andrew only circumvented that event that she planned a month or so in advance. And he had a rally, a political rally of some sort, when her event had nothing to do with politics. It had to do with giving back to the actual drivers that operate in the space of South St. James, which she understands the roads are terrible in some areas, in most areas. Sorry, she understands that the roads are terrible. So she said, all right, you know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to do something for the taxi men them. Andrew Oldness in his infinite. And thank you for the gift, Simple Pebbles. Thanks everybody for the gifts. Please, guys, let's get to 50,000 likes on TikTok. Please. Thank you. Everybody, let's go. YouTube, same thing. Alright? So, you know, the reference that she made about the People's National Party and the highway that they built, and then because JP went into power, they circumvented that and just named the highway after Siaga. Siaga never built a highway. So how comes one just name the highway after Edward Siaga? He never built the highway. Why them never name it after Portia Simpson Miller? They disrespect. But what? Did you hear? Did you hear? Sorry. Excuse me. Did you hear the People's National Party, Labour about it? Them lose the election. So the party that is in power, and them have power, so they can do what they can do what they want to do. Right? So that's what she's saying. Stop being bitter. You lost. Move on. You see how fast Mr. Mark Golden move on the same night. He said, I concede. You won. We're moving on. Yes. So why the leadership of the Jamaica Labour Party can't move on? Why they can't move on? Oh, the winner is still bitter. Hey! But let me tell you something. I cannot wait on this IC report. These 4 reports to come out. Oh, Lord have mercy. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Pat W, how you doing? It's going to be a bangarang, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a bangarang. So 4 reports, 3 indicative rulings should be tabled. And, yeah, let's continue. Oh, my sister London 45 really expressed my sentiments, some of my sentiments about the unaliving of Jamar Ferguson in his home. We are not safe in our homes, ladies and gentlemen. In Jamaica, the poor, not the upper class or rich, because them not running into nobody else up there. You understand? Uptown and them places, no, it's not happening. If you have certain name and status, yeah, it's not happening. The police are not running into your house. Even if them suspect you of crime, when last of the police are run up in their people's house, any wealthy person. Only thing say all of these wealthy people in Jamaica is making their wealth legally, or it's coming off a foundation of legalities. Ha! You know better reverse that argument and that thought in our mind here. Anyway, let's hear more of the rest of this from the Queen of the South. Let's carry it back a little bit. Yes? Let's go.
That choice was me. And history gives us perspective that embolden this kind of behavior. But the reality is simple. The people of South St. James made their choice. That choice was me. And history gives us perspective. In 2016, just 2 weeks after taking office, the JLP renamed a highway built by the PNP after Edward Siaga. They wasted no time in taking ownership because winners take responsibility and losers accept the outcome. You may not always like it, but in a democracy, you respect it. That is what decent, reasonable people do. So let me say it plainly. The defeated former MP is free to live his life how he chooses, take a vacation, or move fully into retirement. But he is not free to act as your member of parliament. If he continues, we will respond accordingly. So to agencies, contractors, and partners, do not accept instructions from him. Engage my office directly. It is a new day in South St. James. Your MP is on the job, and I will not allow sabotage to confuse the public or stand in the way of the people's work. In fact, I've been doing some reading from the Harvard Business Review. I'm reading a book called Managing Creativity and Innovation, because that's how I intend to lead. I have a book I wish to commend to the former MP. This one is called Managing Change and Transition.
If you want to look strong.
Oh my God. Yo. Listen, man. Oh, Savage Mode is on 10,000. I love it, sir. You can do anything with your life. You can go into retirement. You can do whatever. But what you're not going to do is act as if you are the one that won the election and you're the MP. No. I won the election, sir. Put some respect on my name. I will not be walked over. I will not be trampled on. I am the boss. Yo, Nikita Birchell, I love it. Oh, and by the way, since as you are having some trouble with changes, here's a book on how to manage change. Educate yourself. No, I love it. I absolutely love it. Big up Nikisha Birchell. That is the way how you put somebody that is overstepping their boundaries in their place intelligently. Bravo. 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 I love it. I absolutely love it. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So, yeah. Let me know what you guys think about that. You know, Nikisha Birchell situation. Please remember to follow me on all platforms, Bolo TBV, Bolo VNR Clips, Bolo VNR, and Bolo VNR 2.0. If you love the content, hey, the donation options are always open. We have the Cash App, we have the PayPal, and we also have Zelle. If you want to sell me, please send me the receipt. My number is 876-451-6535. That's 876-451-6535. WhatsApp me the receipt for the sale, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, Simone Ma? How you doing? Salute. Shout out to my day ones, man. That's in the building, man. Shout out to all the bush watchers. All right. Yeah, let's move on to the next topic. Let's get it. All right. So that is the IC report. That is Mr. Craig Ferguson, you know, the young man that was unalive, terminated by the police in his home. I can't say it any other way. That was a termination. And that was, you know, the Terminator. It's like the police in Jamaica. It's like them get some mandate for the future. Oh, this person is going to be a problem in the future for whatever it is that we're actually going to do to this country. So we have looked into the future, and yes, it sounds crazy, but it feels that crazy. You know what I'm saying? The experience that we're having here in Jamaica with the police, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh God. I apologize. My sinus is acting up for some reason. Anyway. Elga, how you doing, Elga? Elga said, what? What'd she say? Elga said, that's what I'm saying. If you win a fair and free election, why are you behaving as the loser? Exactly. Something is radically wrong. You're absolutely right, Egla. Egla, you're absolutely right. The posture of the Jamaica Labour Party is not one of winners. They are behaving like losers. I've never seen a party win. And then you see, can you imagine if they lost the election? If one MP is operating in this manner, not just him alone, because I've heard whispers that, and I don't know how true it is. In Portland, I've heard whispers that Miss, what's her name? Anne-Marie Voss is trying to work out some way where she can become the mayor. You know, that's what I'm hearing. I don't know what true it is. It appears that East Portland, something about East Portland, something about the coastline, the rivers, the beaches, the properties, something about that. I don't know. You guys, you don't find it strange? This focus on East Portland. And Northeast St. Elizabeth too. Kryptonite said judge, jury, and execution are promoted by the government. I am saying. That's what I'm saying. Andrew Joseph said, sorry, I wanted to say JLP and PMP has one thing in common. Failed to make sure one law works for Jamaica. What law is that? Michelle said, Bolo. Yes, there's a loser. There are losers. They know they thief it. That is the reason they behaving like this. Where say them conscience a kill them? Oh my God. Please excuse me. Can't be helped, right? The rain touched me. Yesterday I had to say, I'm not even there outside, you know. I was at my door and the rain blew in on me. Sandal is to be like hotel in Eastport and she lost. Sandals? Oh, Princess, how you doing? Well, I don't know. But East Portland is a focus in it, but God is so strategic. I mean, God knows what he's doing. God knows what he's doing. I keep telling you guys, just watch God work. But keep an eye on this IC report. 4 of them people, 4 of them. I can see what going on. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. And also, I want to say big optimistic sensation. The focus on Mr. Wayne Lonesome. Anybody that is covering that little Indian brother. Have you guys been listening to the stories around the Indian brother? I don't want to mess up his name. But the way how he came to Jamaica and the way how his story is very weird. I mean, if you listen to the interview with him that they played, something is not adding up, bro. I think I'm going to cover that this morning. But before I do, let's get into this. Something ain't adding up with that dude. Nikisha is the boss lady in St. James. People should go to Miss Bircher's office for info on anything. Exactly. Put some respect on that lady's name. Stop it. The women them already get a fight in her politics. Right? And then she wins and now they want to come and undermine her authority as the MP of the area. Disrespectful. Arrogant. Yes, exactly. RK. Siaga opposed the highway and then the man them win the election and give him the name of the how. And they were in power, so they didn't even argue with it. But us in the street thinking about it and looking at it. That is so disrespectful. What this person say? What example can she be? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? That question is very it doesn't have good direction. What do you mean she never win? Queen of the South never win? Oh, you really want to go there? Do you want to go there in terms of how about the JLP never win the election? How about them thief it? So we are gonna say that. So where are we?
We
now?
about to move some furniture around here if you touch my leg. It's love.
Yes,
Matter of fact, don't move that hand no more.
Subscribe to the
Don't Mike, you mean to tell me Diddy was touching on your leg while you was sitting right here on this couch? Trying to, but I seen him before. Diddy, get the hell out of the studio.
What is what me I talk about? Look at the comment section on TikTok. This person is obviously a labor right. Them win and them still bitter. Nikisha Burchell no win for RC. You're sick, man. What that the man when I do in Ashford St. James? Tell me what I do. So you are accusing the PMP of buying out South St. James? PMP when don't have no money? PMP when I run the government? That's rich. Which conference now I keep? You're madman. Conference I keep. You come like an artist. Anyway, but done with you. You waste of time. Pilot, Bolo, yes, I watched and listened to Big Sensation last night. Yes, alright, anyway, people, so let's get it right here now. Let's get it right here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in recently, we had, and please remember to hit the like button again, share the live. Recently, the UN, the Prime Minister, the so-called Prime Minister, Andrew Holness. I don't say anything honorable about him, and I don't know of this doctor business. So, Mr. Andrew Holness, that are the most we can do. Mr. Andrew Holness had this to say at the UN, and we're gonna compare and contrast what he had to say versus what Miss Motley had to say. And I'm going to play a voice note that somebody sent to me. And it's funny, when he said it, I was like, bro, I was thinking the same thing. I was literally watching the thing and thinking the same thing. Alright, so let's listen to this.
To preside over this landmark 80th session of the General Assembly. Just last week, Jamaica marked 63 years as a proud member of the United Nations. As we celebrate the UN's 80th anniversary, we reaffirm our unwavering commitment to the principles of the UN Charter. From decolonization to peacekeeping, from eradicating diseases to promoting human rights, the UN has achieved remarkable success over these past 8 decades. Yet, as we confront global challenges, including pandemics, climate change, armed conflict, and persistent poverty, we must acknowledge that our multilateral system requires urgent reform and revitalization to meet the needs of the 21st century. The UN 80 initiative is an opportunity to strengthen multilateralism with concrete action, institutional reform, and renewed political will. We must build a system that is more democratic, representative, and responsive to evolving challenges. Jamaica is honored that our permanent representative is co-chairing the working group on UN 80 mandate implementation review, along with the permanent representative of New Zealand, and we look forward to meaningful outcomes. Madam President, Jamaica believes in a future where multilateralism works for all, where no country is too small to be heard, where the concerns of small islands facing rising seas are addressed, where the benefits of globalization are equitably shared, and where international cooperation is based on respect for the sovereignty of each nation. Climate change, Madam President, is not a distant threat or an academic consideration. It is a daily reality for small island developing states like Jamaica. Frequent hurricanes, droughts, and erratic rainfall destroy infrastructure, displace communities, and set back decades of hard-fought progress. Jamaica has demonstrated unwavering leadership in climate action despite our limited resources. We have committed to achieving net zero emissions by 2050 and have implemented our national adaptation plan with specific measures to build resilience across key sectors, and we are on track to achieve our renewable energy target of 50% by 2030. However, our efforts and those of other SIDS are severely constrained by the lack of predictable access to financing. The promise of $100 billion annually remains unfulfilled.
Everything that Andrew Honest just said. Hey, Antonio, what's up? Everything that Andrew Honest just said led up to the promise of $100 million has not been fulfilled. Beg him go beg. I beg him go beg in that speech. We need the money we want to promise with as a part of the UN. Or we not get it. Climate change and all these things. And that him argument is about, you know. This is the core of him argument, you know. Everything we said before lead up to right at that point. Yeah. You notice how me listen and I say nothing. That the man go and you went for that. I'm going to play the rest side. Let's continue.
Loss and Damage Fund established at COP28 was historic, yet access to financing. The promise of $100 billion annually remains unfulfilled. The Loss and Damage Fund established at COP28 was historic, yet its initial capitalization of $800 million is grossly inadequate. Developed countries must honor their commitments and scale up climate finance, recognizing that adaptation is a necessity for the survival of small island developing states. The global financing system remains fundamentally flawed. It penalizes reforming economies like Jamaica with high borrowing costs while ignoring our vulnerabilities. Through sacrifice, discipline, and sound management, Jamaica has reduced its debt to GDP ratio from 144% to now 62%. Yet we remain locked out of concessional financing because of outdated metrics based solely on per capita income. Jamaica supports the application of the Multidimensional Vulnerability Index that more accurately assesses countries' development needs and their eligibility for concessional financing. Jamaica also strongly supports innovative financing mechanisms, including debt for climate swaps, debt for nature swaps, and blended finance instruments that can unlock private sector investments in sustainable development projects while reducing debt burdens.
So, on here, financing, money. 100 billion, all the things that they need, this is for developing Jamaica. We don't get the money, we need the money. The money.
We welcome initiatives such as the IMF's Resilience and Sustainability Trust and call for its expansion to support more countries in building climate resilience. Madam President, multilateralism must deliver fairness for all countries to believe that constructive dialogue and engagement offers the best path forward for all countries. That is the case, Madam President, for the people of Cuba, so that they may be able to fully participate in the global economy. We encourage continued domestic reform in Cuba and greater integration into international systems supported by policies that enable progress rather than isolation. Madam President, Jamaica once again condemns the heinous October 7, 2023 attack on Israel and is deeply horrified by the devastating humanitarian consequences of the counteroffensive in the Palestinian territories. A just and peaceful resolution to the conflict is only possible through diplomacy and dialogue. We continue to support United Nations Security Council Resolution 242 and support the call for a ceasefire agreement that includes the release of all remaining hostages and definitively ending the protracted war and human suffering. Madam President, political instability, gang violence, and humanitarian crises in Haiti affect not only the Haitian people, but the entire region. As current chair of CARICOM, Jamaica has led and participated in efforts to restore peace and constitutional order in Haiti. Last year, we welcomed and participated in the deployment of the Multinational Security Support Mission to Haiti, and we commend Kenya's leadership in this initiative. Despite progress made, the situation remains dire. As we contemplate next steps, we urge member states, especially those in the Security Council, to operationalize the recommendations made by the Secretary General for a transition to a more robust hybrid mechanism to deal with the situation in Haiti. We call on member states to provide the necessary financial and logistic support to ensure the success of this initiative. But security operations alone will not suffice. Haiti's governance deficit and fragile institutional framework must be addressed. Once stability is restored, the international community must help rebuild democratic institutions, ensure free and fair elections, expand humanitarian relief, and invest in infrastructure to support long-term stability. Haiti's recovery requires sustained global support. Madam President, the Haitian crisis has laid bare a wider truth. Transnational criminal networks involved in cybercrime, trafficking arms, narcotics, and people, organizing violence and destabilizing institutions, are an existential threat to states. Gangs are now global syndicates with resources that rival nation states. Jamaica has made significant progress in tackling gangs and reducing our homicide rate by more than 50% in recent years. But we know that unless these networks are totally dismantled, our gains remain fragile. This is why we call for nothing less than a global war on gangs, a coordinated international campaign to cut off the flow of weapons, money, and the influence that sustains them. This requires deeper engagement from all member states. We urge full implementation of the UN Programme of Action on Small Arms and Light Weapons and the International Tracing Instrument. Major arms exporting countries must tighten export controls, strengthen end-use monitoring, and ensure rigorous post-delivery verification. Jamaica welcomes cooperation with all partners in this fight, including the interdiction of drug trafficking vessels, provided that such operations are carried out with full respect for international law, human rights, and with the coordination and collaboration of the countries of the region. The Caribbean has created regional security mechanisms, but these efforts alone cannot match the scale of the threat. What we need is a unified front with the same urgency, resources, and coordination the world has applied to terrorism. Only then can we turn the Caribbean, and indeed the wider region, into a true zone of peace. Madam President, at this 80th session, let us revitalize multilateralism and recommit to building a more resilient, equitable, and sustainable world. The challenges before us, climate change, debt, poverty, conflicts, and crime, are formidable, but our capacity for collective action is greater. Jamaica has shown that with sound policies, fiscal discipline, and good governance, small nations can achieve great progress. But to build on this progress, we need an international system that is fair, inclusive, and responsive. Let us not leave this assembly with words alone, but with commitments that deliver real change. Jamaica stands ready to work with all member states in partnership and solidarity to create a future defined by peace, prosperity, and dignity for all. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, members.
So, let me just get that out of the way. So, A lot of empty words there, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody said in the chat, he went up there and declared war against gangs, and we are not getting justice for that young man unaliving in Clarendon, Churchill Lane. No, people. I think that's an excellent point from Carter. First time seeing in the chat, welcome to the platform. You say DB government. No, my thing is this. There was a lot of empty words. In terms of war against gangs, I'm not against a war against gang. But if you're going to have a war against gang, like I said before, you equally have to have a war against corruption in the government. If we have a corrupt government, corruption, crime will thrive. And when he spoke about transnational organized crime, well, who do you think facilitate transnational organized crime in a country? Somebody in the government or persons in the government has to be involved. There's no way you're having transnational crime thriving in a country when there isn't somebody inside the government that is compromising the efforts to clamp down on crime. A lot of people have to turn a blind eye. You know what transnational organized crime involves? Money laundering. People being abducted, you know what them call the black market, and people, them taking away children. You see all these missing kids, all these missing people, where the cases are never solved. Sure, you know you're doing. The James Home, big up, right? TikTok, big up. Let's get to 50,000 likes, please. Keep the taps up, please. For the people on YouTube, remember to hit the like button. Transnational organized crime is a litany of crimes culminated together. And I'm telling you, if you look at the history of transnational crime and investigations, the web of persons involved in them when caught, the government is involved. So how can we have a prime minister going to the UN talking about fighting gangs when he's suing the Integrity Commission? That's supposed to hold the people that are in leadership, including himself, to account where their statutory declarations is concerned. Letting us know that, listen, I am clear, I'm declared. I made my money legally. I am not a part of transnational crime. I'm not a part of money laundering or anything of that sort. So you cannot tell us that you are going to fight gang warfare in Jamaica. And oh, by the way, did you realize he said to eliminate? Which country has eliminated crime? Just please let me know. Even the most hardened countries, Venezuela, Colombia, Mexico, where they have some real gang, serious gang, where they build prison for specifically. Have you seen the crime go all the way down and totally eradicated? No. Because any real eradication of crime, it has to be, God has to be involved in it. There has to be a renewal of spirit, mind, body, and soul of the people. The fear of God has to be at the center of any progressive society that is moving away from criminality. Criminality is an offspring of sin, greed. Greed breeds corruption. You believe, say, you know, even though you did not work for it, you're supposed to have more than the other person, to the point where you will see what they have, bad mind them and covet them feet, and want to take it from them. But I don't want to go too much into it. Like I said, there was a lot of empty words from Andrew Wallace. His actions is contradicting his words. And him really got to big. It's really about the money. You understand? The $100 billion where they're supposed to give them. It's the first thing him talk about. So that was the entree of topics on his speech. But let's go to Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister, President of Barbados. Let's get to her. because it's the difference is so obvious in the two speeches. It's so let's listen. It's so obvious.
To preside over this landmark 80th session of the General Assembly.
Barbados. I request Protocol Barbados. I request Protocol to escort Her Excellency and invite her to address the Assembly.
Thank you very much, Madam President, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The 21st century has been marked by a series of crises for which our world has been unprepared. Financial crisis that started in 2008, which then triggered fiscal crises across many of the world's countries. And if that was not enough, a social crisis characterized by rising inequality with the consequences thereto, be it substance abuse, mental health challenges, homelessness, or human trafficking. Then there was a global pandemic, lasting 2 to 3 years and taking the lives of millions of people. And for those surviving, they had restricted movement and restricted choices.
Did you know that cilantro can detox your kidneys, reduce inflammation, boost urine production?
All of this, my friends, has been exacerbated by the spreading of fake news. This distorts reality and threatens the stability of our societies, creating a platform for hate to thrive and prejudice to rise. But deeper than all of these crises is a bigger, more insidious crisis that is undermining our domestic and global institutions that have promoted order, peace, and prosperity. It is, my friends, the crisis of truth. Excellencies, when we lose shared truth, our communities, our countries, our global society loses their center of gravity. At first, the damage may seem quiet. Words bend and facts drift in the service of political point scoring. But slowly, over time, we descend into political tribalism. We develop alternative realities and we are unable to understand each other and communicate with each other because we lack a center. Then we grow suspicious of each other. In the absence of truth, trust deteriorates. And we see it all around us, in global forums, and indeed on the blocks and in the communities in our own countries. Trust between neighbors, trust between the governed and the governing, trust in our instructions, trust in our social order, trust in our health systems, trust in our global rules, governance structures. It all seems, in the words of Chinua Achebe, to be falling apart. When we lack truth and we lack trust, law becomes theater, news becomes spectacle, and science becomes just another opinion. As I've had cause to say in this great hall on a few times, our world today worryingly resembles the world of 100 years ago. And this has become even more evident with the closing of our borders to both goods and to people. This has magnified the geopolitical tensions which had already taken root. Disturbingly, war regrettably has only entered the daily lexicon of the West, not when thousands were dying on the continent of Africa or in Myanmar, but when war came to Europe. Nevertheless, we still call for peace in the Ukraine. Only yesterday, a leading British newspaper reminded us that for 500 days, 260,000 people, virtually the population of my country, 260,000 people have been trapped in the Sudanese city of El Fasher. The article reported that while political progress stalls, those who attempt to escape are killed, and those who remain inside are starved. The world must not ignore the horror in Sudan. And of course, I don't need to remind you that it must not ignore the horror in Gaza. The genocidal destruction taking place in both places must now have our full attention. And as it relates to Gaza, Yes, there must be a release of the hostages taken on October 7th. But we have now gone to a point where all of our human sensibilities are offended by the continuous and disproportionate attacks on the Palestinian people and the failure to allow access by the international community to the survivors for the provision of humanitarian aid. The survivors are entitled, my friends, to use the words of Bob Marley. How can you be sitting there telling me that you care, when every time I look around, the people suffer in the suffering in every way, in everywhere?
You know, this is the moment when I said, you know, I want to be a citizen of Barbados. Talk about an impactful speech already. There's so much things that she has covered, you know. So many global topics. She has covered the intricacies of the UN and how they treat the smaller countries. She has touched on Pakistan and Israel, the war. She has touched on the pandemics. She even touched on fake news on social media. She has touched on so many different topics in this, I don't even know, 7 minutes of her speech. The lady is fit, and then she quoted Bob Marley. No, seriously, can I be a citizen of this country? Like I am well, she's just a Maltese Barbadians of another perspective. Well, leadership counts and leadership matters. This is a lady that I would follow. Yes, I don't agree with everything, but the core of what she's standing on, I'm rocking with her. Her speech already has more substance than Andrew's speech. Let's continue. What's up, Paula? Her speech already has more substance than Andrew Owen's speech. This is sad, man. This is sad.
My friends, it calls to mind the Roman historian Tacitus, who quoted a Scottish chieftain fighting against the military might of the Roman Empire. And I mention only the last two sentences. They plunder, they butcher, they ravish, they make it desert and call it peace. They make it desert and they call it peace.
So, that quote, hey Selena, they make it desert and they call it peace. That is a very accurate quote based on what is happening in Israel. I don't even speak on these things, but if you know, you know. Let's continue.
The real tragedy of war is that these children, when they become grandparents, will still be answering the innocent questions posed by their grandchildren 70, 80 years from now as to how they lost their limbs. Granny, how did you lose your leg? And when they answer, we run the risk that the violence and hate will be perpetuated for another 2 to 3 generations. This is not why we have come together. This is not good. And Madam President, it is happening under our watch. We can and we must do better to secure the peace across the world in the name of the children. And let me say that at the very least, the international community must immediately find the funding to support the children of Gaza and the children of Sudan for the next 3 months.
You know, I'm sorry, I have to stop it. It's too much substance coming from this lady that I have to highlight. Because this is what I do in my reactions. Listen, man. You heard what you said about generational hurt? When you bomb somewhere, this lady is a survivor now, or this man is a survivor, and lost their leg. They have grandchildren, they have people in their community, curious, don't know what happened. Generations came afterwards. What happened to your leg, mommy? What happened to your leg, grandpa? Well, you know, there was a war and Israel bombed our country. Why did Israel bomb our country? You know, because the hate for Israel or any other country that was the aggressor is going to come. Because here's my grandmother that I love. And it's the same thing with slavery. Anybody that had a parent that went through slavery, a grandparent that went through slavery, that told them those stories, it is automatic that you're going to develop those feelings towards the set of people that did that to your mother, your father, your brother, your sister. You understand? Your cousin, your aunt, whatever the case might be. We black people know that are living in this time, if we saw the things that happened to our ancestors in live and living color, oh, the energy would be different, fam. It is an automatic that the energy would be different. You heard what I said? And even when it comes down to the race that did that to our people, that's one of the things they fear the most. So when it comes on to black people uniting like in America, there is an effort to stamp out certain types of unity that they cannot monitor or control. So they will infiltrate entities like Black Lives Matter, where they will start off in the right vein, but then it becomes colluded and diluted and lacking substance because, you know, they wave money around. And there's not a lot of persons that in this world that can resist the temptation of money being waved, enough money being waved around at them. They won't stand on principle. They won't stand on integrity. It's very rare that you actually see that, you know. So the devil knows. The devil knows the weaknesses of men, and the devil exploits them quite regularly. But this argument that she's making, the perpetuation of hate, yeah, man. I think when you think about that, the Bible says, I think the Bible says, you know, if it is possible, live in peace with all men. If it is possible. And it also says, forgive your brother 7 times 70. Isn't that right, mommy? So those two things, when I really look at those two things, you know, I think that would help us to maintain peace. And I think inadvertently, I think that is our argument. You know, we have to respect and love each other. And it starts from the nation levels, the bigger nation to the smaller nation. And that's what I'm getting from it. Let's continue.
UNICEF has said that in Gaza it is $66 million that is needed for the next 3 months. And in Sudan it is $200 million. The money is mostly nutrition related, to reverse or to mitigate famine for children, and to provide water and sanitation and health interventions. And we should note that there have been multiple disease outbreaks, including cholera. So, Madam President, to be very clear as I move on, a lasting peace can never be achieved through violence, not continued bombing. It can only be achieved through justice as our guide and dialogue, talking. And lest we forget, where others are seeking to build the peace and to preserve humanity in Gaza, as we saw, the international community must not condone the bombing of those states who look to facilitate peace. It is a red line that we must never cross. Madam President, I say simply again, another year, the world needs a reset. We must find, first and foremost, whether we still agree on the same values that inform our charter. As simple as this seems, this is necessary in any reset. For values we all know have changed over the last 80 years, and we cannot assume that it is business as usual. And if it is not available to all of us to agree to those values, then we must at least know who does and who doesn't. In addition to our inability to bring about peace in multiple conflicts, there really still are a number of issues that threaten our way of life and the stability of our planet beyond war.
How many times do you go to the gym?
The climate crisis, life, and the stability of our planet beyond war. The climate crisis, food insecurity, water scarcity, mass flow of refugees and displaced persons, poverty and increasing inequality within and between societies. It has become so insidious that people don't even talk about it sufficiently. And of course, the failing spectacle of the SDGs for too many of our countries and people across the world. And of course, unregulated AI, which, while it has tremendous promise, poses unregulated significant risk. Many of our people ask every day, why has the United Nations not done better recently? The simple truth, my friends, is that countries have lacked the political will to live by the Charter and to do what is right for humanity. Countries of different sizes, capacities, and cultures can only survive in this world in which we live if we maintain a rules-based system. It is no different to what we have to do in our own countries to maintain and protect the vulnerable and the weak. In fact, it's no different than what has to be done in a child's playground. The rules-based system is what protects us from bullying and from rogue behavior. Our charter was designed to promote compassion, equality, fairness. And this is why it is imperative that we maintain a rules-based system. I speak as a leader of a small country. Our future is placed at risk unless we preserve this rules-based system. The law of the jungle does not guarantee any of us a future on a livable, or indeed doesn't guarantee us a livable planet. We have simply to step up to the plate. And unlike the West Indian Federation, when one country left and the maths of the day was 1 from 10 leaves 0, we must remember that if there are those who don't want to be inside at the dance, that 1 or 2 or 3 from 193 does not leave 0. Does not leave 0. Those of us who remain can continue to pursue our vital interests. And we don't criticize countries for making sovereign decisions because that's what governments were elected to do. If that's not what they want, that's not what they want. But let us get on with the business and protect our vital interests of preserving a rules-based system, to strengthen us, to build peace, to allow us to better face challenges from climate to pandemics to unregulated AI, and generally to build a better life for our people. There is no doubt that there is a case for efficiency gains to be made in this United Nations institutional framework. We know that. But once we finish the efficiency gains, member states who want or need a rules-based order must put their money where their mouth is. If we are to be protected by a rules-based system, then we must step up to the plate and provide the funds to bridge the gap, to deliver the results that we desire. We must move from short pants to long pants and understand that we can no longer complain about the absence or behavior of a country and not ourselves be prepared to make wrong things right. It is as simple as that. And believe me, the arithmetic is not bad. It is within each of our reach to reach there, to do it. And let us remember the Aristotelian principle, equality among equals, proportionality among unequals. My friends, and while we contemplate the multiple crises, let us also not despair, because there are some things that have worked for the benefit of our people in the last few years. We now have, globally, a historic pandemic agreement that was adopted to make the world equitable, more equitable, and safer from future pandemics. A full appreciation of this will only come when the next pandemic hits us. We have agreed to the Seville Commitment on Finance, which seeks to fulfill the promise of the SDGs, and which, even though the funding has not been fully identified, has mainstreamed a number of financing concepts that were simply not taken into account a decade ago. Debt swaps, natural disaster clauses, or what they call climate resilient debt clauses. These are the things that we advocated in the Bridgetown Initiative. We have committed, also as a world, last year here, to an ambitious global action plan to combat antimicrobial resistance. And what does that have to do with any of us in here? I've said repeatedly, this is the silent, slow-motion pandemic of the 21st century and threatens to reverse a century of medical progress. And when we know people who die from hospital-aided infections, we understand the importance of the vital steps taken here. Earlier this week, we successfully brought into force the Beyond Boundaries and National Jurisdiction Treaty. As a large ocean state, as Barbados is, I am acutely aware of the critical importance to protect our oceans and its marine biodiversity as part of the ecological balance of the planet. And last year we adopted the ambitious Pact for the Future, which provides a roadmap, a North Star, for our work to protect people and planet of the future. The two instruments mentioned on Tuesday morning by our Secretary General for regulating AI must now be our priority if we are to avoid the severe deepening inequality of our times and to avoid leaving our people exposed to the risk and exploitation of AI and the distortion of facts. I must tell you that regrettably, I have experienced on a well-known commercial AI platform examples of censorship that seek to deny access to the details of our history in this hemisphere, in terms of the Barbados Slave Code, in terms of the South Carolina Slave Code. So we must be vigilant. Speaking as a small country, therefore.
No. Listen, man. This speech blew Andrew Owen's speech out of the water. There's so much that she has touched on. That's vitally important to not just right now, but our future. Where are we going? We are going into AI. But an unregulated AI is dangerous. You heard what you said about altering history? We are very dependent on Google. A lot of people are very dependent on ChatGPT. Right? Is it ChatGPT? Or whatever. But they were dependent on those things. My point is this. Our dependency on those things, those things can be controlled or altered in some capacity. Right? Some capacity, those things are affected. So this point about AI that she's making and the regulation, I mean, I don't know when they're going to reach the point of regulation, but all I can say is this, Jamaica. Our data in Jamaica, them trying to have a digital system, a total digital system, a lot of people are going to be in tears. Let me just say that. I am guaranteed, a lot of people are going to be in tears. Because you see the needs, you're talking about all your information on your medical, your land ownership, your titles, all of it digitalized in one database. Any breach of that database, tears. You remember them, you all hear them talk about that, even people here on here, one Liberate mentioned it, FinSac. Well, if AI unregulated is going to make what they claim FinSac was, it's going to make it look like child's play. AI unregulated. Yeah? You remember? With a net? Oh my God. Let's continue.
We see no future without a rules-based system. And before I go on, let me recognize the outgoing President of the General Assembly, His Excellency Philemon Yang, for his impactful presidency last year. And let me also congratulate Her Excellency Annalena Baerbock for assuming the presidency, particularly in this year when we celebrate Beijing Plus 30. Barbados looks forward to working with you, ma'am, to execute your vision. The fact that you are only the 5th woman to occupy this post over the last 80 years is a cause both for profound concern, but I say renewed optimism. This is a testament to the very point that I'm seeking to make. The organization is working, even if not at optimal levels, but we still have so much to do. Madam President, on climate finance, there is climate and finance, I should say, there's a real danger that debates in this great chamber, at the conference of the parties and elsewhere, risk being reduced to mere performative exercises. We have watched the widely celebrated green wave which swept Europe in 2019. We've seen it now recede, and in its backwash, that continent now faces deep division over the scale, scope, and speed of delivery on commitments made to eliminate climate harm and pollution by 2050. We've seen others withdraw from the Paris Agreement. At a time, Madam President, when we should be conducting an audit of the achieved targets and accomplished deliverables, we continue for the most part to receive IOUs and statements of deferred intent. Even as we have witnessed this vacillation that I just referred to, we've also seen a rededication to breathing new life into high carbon and high polluting forms of energy. And we have witnessed a redoubling of efforts to fund military build-ups, even at the expense of financing our way to sustainability and that of a livable planet.
When we touch here, maybe just try this, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that feels...
Barbados does not treat climate science as a mere conjecture, and neither does the International Court of Justice nor the Inter-American Court of Human Rights. Their advisory opinions have affirmed the legal rights and entitlements of citizens who must on a daily basis confront the impact of the climate crisis. In this regard, we especially welcome the International Court of Justice's ruling to the effect that states have obligations to protect the climate system and other parts of the environment from emissions, and that those obligations can be enforced against other states. Given this new reality as we look ahead, we must seize the opportunity to find common ground, given the diversity of opinions on this question of the climate crisis. I propose that one possible way forward is to focus on emissions rather than focusing on the fossil fuel industry. As I've said before, the fossil fuel industry is not the enemy. It is the emissions. In this regard, we should consider working towards a globally legal binding framework on methane, which could contribute to reversing global temperatures, I'm told by the scientists, by as much as half a degree, while purchasing time for the fossil fuel industry to scale up to a commercial level the use of decarbonizing technology. This is possible. The Baku to Belém roadmap must also ensure that the necessary resources, $1.3 trillion annually by 2035, are not only committed, but delivered. It is the political will and the ingenuity of countries and financial institutions that will ensure that these sums can be delivered. It must not, and we must not allow that roadmap to suffer the same fate as the Loss and Damage Fund, which, despite its historic establishment, remains grossly undercapitalized, with less than $800 million pledged, and regrettably, only half of those pledges have actually materialized. This ambivalence towards finance and fiscal space, my friends, is what gave birth to the Bridgetown Initiative. Its latest iteration, Bridgetown 3.0, will shortly be reviewed, given the rapidly changing global environment in which we live. We still need to expand liquidity support and to close the financing gap to assist vulnerable countries, especially the V20, many of whom still face the possibility of a debt crisis. They need it to build their resilience and to adapt to the new climate reality. I am conscious of the progress by which multilateral institutions have taken on board some of our arguments in the Bridgetown Initiative, especially as it relates to climate finance and to the issue of vulnerability. I referred earlier to debt swaps and the climate resilient debt clauses. Madam President, all of these goals and many more can be achieved by a fully functional rules-based system, one that is ambitious in its goals, effective in its delivery, and fair in its organization. As UN80 process seeks to enhance the functioning of this organization, we must ensure that we put in place the initiatives that are not the exclusive outgrowth of budget constraints and cross-cutting exercises, but are instead initiatives that are people-focused, delivery-driven, providing the global population with the peace and the security and the quality of life that they deserve and that they are increasingly demanding. To this effect, the Security Council, we know, must be reformed. It must reflect the multipolar world that we now live in, and it must give an opportunity to recognize that there have been substantial geopolitical shifts since 1962 when you had your last reform, 3 years before I was born, and I turned 60 next week. Permanent seats for Africa and a seat that revolves for small island developing states are an essential part of that reform, because we all have perspectives that must be heard. You cannot ask us really to show up for family photos and votes when you need them, and then exclude us from the family's decision making as if you are the grown-ups and we are the children.
Ooh, man, listen. Boy, hey, she hitting hard, ain't she? Boy, she addressing the UN, everybody, man, listen. You gotta fix things, all right? And then her argument about emissions, I just think that really and truly, a lot of, there is people in position and power out there that talks about clean energy, but they don't really care. It sounds good. It's something to get funding for, but especially in terms of especially in terms of the small countries. When it comes to carbon footprint, I don't know if you guys do any research on that, but we don't affect the world in that capacity. We don't. How many of you knew that they have been putting artificial mosquitoes in our atmosphere? Well, America's atmosphere. I don't know if it affects us. Listen to this. Let me find it. Let me find it. A long time I don't really give you nothing like this. I feel like more at it because of the conversation which I have. There's a lot of alterations that is being done that really, does not help us. You know what I mean? I want you guys to listen to this. A lot of things that are being done in this world that most of us are really just unaware of. Listen to this.
What you are witnessing right here is something nobody voted for. Nobody said yes to this. If they had taken a vote, I guarantee most people would say no. This is the release of hundreds of millions of genetically modified mosquitoes in Florida. Now, the idea behind this, the mainstream official narrative, is that these are genetically modified to be sterile, and when they try to breed with the female mosquito in the wild, it'll lower the mosquito population. But here's the crazy part. Where is the documentation? Because surely they have like a genetic profile and all of the science behind these mosquitoes. We don't see any of that. We just hear we're releasing GMO mosquitoes to keep the population down. What type of gene sequences are included in these mosquitoes? What happens if you're bit by a genetically modified mosquito? Why is there no discussion or transparency on this issue? Now, this article is from 2020, but they've been doing this every year. In 2020, 750 million GMO mosquitoes were approved for release. Who approved them? Certainly they didn't ask the public. And secondly, I will say, the food chain, that mosquitoes, like frogs eat them, dragonflies, it's a major food source, birds eat them, bats eat them. We know how important bats are for the ecosystem. So this is not a good idea, yet it's being done. Why? Because I don't buy the official story that this is to keep the population of mosquitoes down. That may be the result of this, but there's something else going on here. Comment your thoughts below and follow for more. What you are witnessing...
Now, I have a lot of concerns. And I have a lot of questions based off the questions that he asked. If you look at the screen and you see what they are spraying from the helicopter, that look alone gives the perception of, is this poison? That's the first thing. Perception, not reality. Anyway, the other thing is, the question he asked about what happens when a genetically modified mosquito bites you. Interesting. What if those genetically modified mosquitoes could be weaponized against the population? Is that possible? The argument is that the mosquitoes is supposed to take out the other mosquitoes and drop the population of mosquitoes. Don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating for mosquitoes, but God Almighty never made any mistake. And every time mankind intervenes in God Almighty's plan, it is catastrophic. And this is a fact. Every single time mankind has meddled in God's order and plan for us, we have faced catastrophic consequences. I don't know the gravity of the consequence of this that they're doing. I don't purport to know. However, using my little bird brain, if majority are the other, you know, the birds, the frogs, you know, all the other animals, because you know the food chain, the mosquito is a major source of sustenance. Well, let me ask you something. When them take food from off of your plate, what happens to you? Do you get sick, malnourished, immune system drop, maybe death? So what is going to happen to all of these species? That mosquito is a major source of their food that they consume. What's going to happen to them? And if it is that it's going to create a chain where they are also going to be consistently diminished. And what's up, Chill? Their actual purpose on Earth in the ecosystem, whatever that is, how important that is, what are those functions that the frog, the bat, we talk about the bat. Do you guys see where I'm going here? It's a chain reaction of events. The mosquitoes, the animals that eat so the population of mosquitoes going down, the animals eating the mosquito. What happens when a mosquito, a genetically mosquito, is eaten by animals? What happens? What happens in there? Again, we have seen studies and we have seen salmon, genetically modified salmon released in the wild. The almighty code. There's a code in all of us. The connection between the plants, us, the animals, the earth, men, and a specific man. A specific man. For those that are watching Bolo TV, you can see the specific man on the screen. He's an agent of the devil himself. Every single thing that this man champions goes against nature. So they want to reduce the mosquito population. They also want to reduce the man, we, the people. They have been doing it for years. Oh, 2 kids is better than too many. They have programmed our minds as black people especially to not have large families anymore. Oh, it has worked. It has worked. The women are suffering many different things in their personal, their experience with their cycle, all the pain and the uncomfort in their body because of the foods. Discomfort. I said uncomfort, didn't I? I'm sorry. Thank you for the correction. The discomfort in their body because of the food, the water, we are being attacked on a chemical level. And I'm going to play one more video. And then I'm going to end this reaction because we're going off grid. But my spirit leads me to so. Here we are. Listen to this.
Damn, y'all hear about this? Coca-Cola sued for claims that its all-natural Simply Orange juice has high levels of toxic chemicals. Hey, that's crazy. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't even know Coca-Cola owned them. I'm curious now. So apparently Simply Orange juice has been found to be contaminated with toxic PFAS at levels hundreds of times above federal advisory limits for drinking water. PFAS are a class of 12,000 chemicals called forever chemicals because they do not naturally break down and they link to cancer, fetal complications, liver disease, kidney disease, autoimmune disorders, and more. This suit was filed in the Southern District of New York. The complaint is his packaging and branding mentions all natural ingredients and nothing to hide, which is alleged to be misleading because it has synthetic chemicals that make it not natural. Damn, Slim. What's y'all thought on this? Do you even drink this orange juice? Do you even care about these claims? Comment that below right now. Damn, y'all hear about...
So apparently, Simple Orange Juice is, Coca-Cola is being sued in New York. No, how you doing? Because Simple Orange Juice has high levels of toxic chemicals in there. But on the label it says it's natural. How many of these products, unknowing to us, fits this criteria? Listen, man, they said it's 100 times over the safe limit of even drinking water. The orange juice. Do you know how much Americans like orange juice is? You know how we have a national dish like ackee and saltfish, and the Americans that are on, my day ones, are people that are new to the platform. You can confirm this. Orange juice is a significant an important staple in people's breakfast. One of the first things that they drink in the morning. Growing up as a baby, and you're telling me that we got orange juice out here alleged to have high levels of toxic chemicals in there? Synthetic. What does that mean for the future of that child? How will that affect their body? Mind, spirit, and soul. How will it affect it? When we talk about food security in Jamaica, this is one of the reasons. All these imports from overseas, especially in America. This ain't it, bro. This ain't it. You hear me? Has a toxic called PFAS. Levels 100 times above federal advised limits for drinking water. That's crazy, right? You're talking about cancers, fetal complication. How many of you guys have constipation in America? Hello? Liver disease, kidney disease, autoimmune disorder. Yo, I don't know. You know how many of us have autoimmune disorder? I got it. Serious health issues. But I digress, I'm gonna leave that right there. This reaction has gone over all. And so shout out to Mrs. Motley, or Miss Motley. And I want to you guys can go watch the rest of her speech or listen it. I want to thank her for her advocacy and her voice. Again, there are some things that I understand that is a part of the global agenda, especially where the UN is concerned. And it's smoke and mirrors. But the governments and the data that they have given, they have bought into it. And I'm not going to argue that data, no, or even on this platform. I'm not going to do it. I am neither qualified nor am I educated. But I have a hunch. That's all I have. Alright? Well, let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Like up the video, man. Alright, my people. Mom, the phone. Let me the phone. More read one article. One article me just come across. Very interesting. At the cleaner. Me can't upload it on the computer. It nah upload on the computer at all for some strange reason. So good. Alright. The cleaner. Come across an article on the cleaner. I think it's important that I share. Almost all Jamaicans, 50 Chinese laid off as Western Children's Hospital also finished. Almost finished. Errol Green, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, has confirmed that all Jamaican workers and 50 unskilled Chinese workers are no longer employed on the construction site of the multi-billion-dollar Western Children and Adolescent Hospital in Montego Bay. The project is now nearing completion. Speaking with the Gleaner Wednesday, annual general meeting of the St. James chapter of the Jamaica Lay Magistrate Association, Green explained that the layoffs occurred because there was simply no more work for them. They have laid off the local workers and they are sending back some 50 of the Chinese who have nothing to do, said Green, who noted that some specialist Chinese workers remain finalizing the project. Just over a week ago, some Chinese workers whose salary and other benefits are the responsibility of the Chinese government took industrial action over unpaid wages, claiming they had not been paid for 6 months. You hear what them say? Them say is the Chinese government responsible. All that, note that to know. Green, oh Lord. Sorry guys, let me get back. Yeah. Yeah. Green confirmed that they have since received their outstanding remuneration for work on the 220-bed hospital, which will provide medical services for children and adolescents up to 18 years. The Western Child and Adolescents Hospital is a gift for Jamaica from China, with the Chinese footing the full bill for construction. Really? And what did they get in return? China just don't do things. What them getting in return? However, Green noted that once the hospital is completed, the Jamaica government will need to allocate additional resources to fully operationalize it. Hey! The hospital is being built on the grounds of the Cornwall Regional Hospital, which is also undergoing extensive renovation. Cornwall Regional is progressing. We'll be moving next to put in the records department, and that is expected to be in before the end of the year, Green said Green. It is expected to be completed as well before the end of the year. They are working on dietary. What? They are working on dietary, which should be placed by early next year. The plan for Cornwall Regional is that by, say, September of next year, it should be completed. Added Green, Cornwall Regional is the only Type A hospital in Western Jamaica. It has significantly scaled down operation since 2017, when it was hit by a nauseous fumes issue. The repairs, which were expected to cost $5 billion, has since ballooned to $23.5 billion. Alright? You know. Yo, Jamaica is not a real place. That's all I'm gonna say. Jamaica is truly not a real place. Let me see what else is happening in the news here. St. Catherine man accused of land fraud granted $500,000 bail. Stand up for Jamaica alarmed by police fatal shooting adds to call for body-worn cameras. Stand up for Jamaica. Isn't this Isaac Buchanan's Isaac Buchanan group? Stand up for Jamaica. Those group of lawyers, if I'm not mistaken. No, sir, go. Memory. Human rights group Stand Up for Jamaica says it's deeply alarmed at the sharp rise in police-involved fatalities and is adding its voice to call for the use of body-worn cameras. Thank God. We need everybody to call for it. Pressure the damn government. The organization says recurring reports of officers not wearing body-worn cameras, especially during planned operations, is an issue of concern. Definitely. Citing data from the Independent Commission of Investigation, INDICOM, it noted that 230 persons have been fatally shot by the security forces so far this year. 230 persons have been unalived by police force. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 365 days in the year, yeah? Just in case you didn't know, 365 days in the year. Yes? Oh man, mommy can't open this. 365 days in the year. The police have unalived more than half of that number of people in fatal shootings in operations without body-worn cameras. 365. Mighty God. I'm telling you. Simple Pebbles, what I go on. Let me just do the maths real quick. Let me do the maths. 135 are the difference. Today is what? Alright, so we have 90 something days left in the year. Less than 100. Want to see where I go with this? The trend of the police, ladies and gentlemen, is going to, if not go to, but go close to unaliving one Jamaican a year, a day in this country. 230 persons fatally shot by the police. So far. Can't bother my mother again. So this is serious cause of concern. It's very, very serious cause of concern. I wanted to cover something else, but I'm going to do it later. Let me see. Let me see how I do it. No man, you should have shown me the pattern. Thank you, Stu. This is terrible. By the same date in 2024, the total was 131. So last year, at this time, it was 131. The money almost doubled the amount of persons them unalive this time last year. No? So what got me in 2026? Them are almost triple. Because what is happening, you know, is that them refuse to wear the body worn cameras, and then the government is protecting and backing the foolishness. It says here, moreover, September alone has seen at least 20 fatal shootings. September alone, almost a person a day, a human being a day, the man them are unalive. People, I'm telling you something. Nobody cannot tell me, say, all of these people that the police are unaliving is criminals. Worse, God go expose them with Jamar Ferguson, fresh, just the other day, 23 police. 23 corrupt police in Jamaica is too much corrupt police. Much less 23 police now one area work together. Go Agava, go on. At this point, I don't even understand what the motive is anymore. Is it that them just want to terminate the poor people them? Where say, you know, I remember my mom years ago, a friend of mom, well, somebody that my mom knows that I mean, no, listen to man, that has connections, especially with the Jamaica Labour Party.
Yes.
Big labor right. But travel. Have connection, can make phone call and things up. You understand what I say? Yeah, man. Yo, we need this for Ray, and it happened. The man said the country are going in one direction where it's going to be impossible for a lot of poor people to live here. We simply won't be able to afford it. And I mean, say so, no? How long about that moment? 7 years ago. The man said after a while, only rich people will be living in Jamaica. Wagwan, Patricia, we say their market. Patricia, we say land in Jamaica. A market there now. A shop for some good old. Hold on there. Patricia in the building. Shout out to Patricia. Yo, the man said, remember that brother, the man said, yeah man, I'm a big labor right, man. Big labor right. The man Pernell Charles, a friend my mother said. You what the man called? Jamaica no a real place. You don't remember when Mama Didi come out and rub out the girl who work with the JLP? And I said, oh, she get poor relief house and she have house already. Like, why is corruption so normalized in Jamaica? Why do we accept it, run with it? It's just another day. Man, all of them are the same thing, man. Yeah, man. Lord, the man, them, man. Make them do them thing. All of them are thief. Huh? You know, you wouldn't be saying that if they literally came in your house and start to take your ish. You wouldn't be saying that. But because you're disconnected that they're really taking your ish. Okay, Patricia, just checking. I wouldn't know enough. You know, take 6 hours for each Jamaica. You know? So you can check in anytime. I mean, know people. most people when them travel so then do. Nobody knows them come. When them come, they just reach. And then you know something, if they know where you live, they know something they don't so. Where you there? They come in your yard now. And then where the Jamaican people stay now. My hope is that God put his foot in Jamaica. In whole foot. Yeah man. Just put in whole foot in Jamaica. Like Jamaica want shoes. Yeah. Full foot. Our hands. But the presence need for us. We see the church them come out. Or one church come out. I go against Obia. And I see people online defend the Obia. Me say. Mercy. What the Bible say about customs, mommy? Customs and ways. Come for your phone, please. Hey sis, how you doing? I wonder how comes me have a phone.
You borrow my phone.
Oh God, big up sis. So that's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. The people them a defend the Obia. And that was the final. That was it for me. That was it for me. We are done as a nation. Fully done. It's not fully done, so it's fully done. Fully done. You know done? Done. Over. Finito. If I had any doubt that God's judgment is going to take this land, there's no doubt now. When I saw a video of people defending the Obia, and I heard the pastor and the thing saying that people believe so them can use the Obia to come off a criminal cases, you know. So a criminal. No. Listen, people are gonna work Obia. But the legalization of it, mark my words. It's come like people are gonna unalive people. But if you don't have a law that penalize people unaliving people, they unalive somebody and then they can continue on with them life and not go to prison, crime rate is gonna go. So if one person believes, say, you know, them can unalive somebody or do some type of crime and then got the Overman and them don't go to prison because of the Overman works, what do you think of that? I will wonder why the country the United States that it's in. Yo, listen, man. JLP government is the weapon that farm against Jamaica. The absolute weapon that farm against Jamaica. Enough of the labor right now say, who are foolish to say a chat. Yeah. You always say anything, but Virgin, Jamaica was always a Christian, you know, godly country. Always, but you know, man, I don't know, man. I'm gonna leave it right there. I can't believe it's just 11 o'clock. It feels good to do an early show. So later on, maybe 3 or 4 o'clock, I'll be going live again. And plus, we have some video. I have a video dropping in the next hour. But I love when you check it out. It's a short video, but impactful. Want to get that video there? Some serious shares and likes. And please, support the live stream, support the platform. however you can. You can like, share, you can subscribe, you can hit the notification bell and click all. You can donate. You got the Cash App, you have the PayPal, and we also have the Zelle. Zelle, I just need a receipt. A printer, well, not a printer, a screenshot of the receipt. My number is 876-451-6535. WhatsApp me. All of the information is in the description of the video. Please remember to sign the Magnitsky Act. The Magnitsky Act. Please remember to sign the Magnitsky Act. Alright? Alright. And that is also in the description. The very first word under the video that says, can you help with this petition? Click that, open it up, click the link, sign. We need 10,000 signatures. God bless you. Alright? I forgot to end the live stream on Bolo